Hey guys, Dave here. I'm gonna show you today how to make a nice juicy rack of baby back ribs, at least the way I do it. Alright, so I start with a full slab of baby back ribs here, as you can see. You can buy them pre-packaged, previously frozen, fresh from the butcher, so whatever. Whatever suits your fancy. This process also works for spare ribs as well. So if you're interested in doing this with spare ribs, the only difference is how the meat is prepared prior to cooking it. So anyway, right here I have a slab of baby back ribs, very fatty on toward the middle of it, right under this strip of meat here. There's a layer of fat, and that's what's going to baste your meat while you're cooking it. But what I like to do is I like to bake it in the oven for 2 hours at 210 degrees. Why 210 degrees? Well, it's because it's a low heat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put water in the bottom of this pan. If you don't have one of these racks here, go get yourself one, something that'll fit in a cookie sheet like this. Because what that's going to do is it's going to allow the drippings to get down into the water that I'm going to pour into the pan below, and then it's going to steam back up into the meat and just keep basting that meat as the cooking process goes. Okay, so I'm just going to put in about a cup of water, and the 210 degrees is going to allow that water to vaporize, because water boils at 210 degrees, correct? So that water is going to vaporize inside of what I'm going to create a tent of foil that's going to go over this. And but first of all, I want to season this. I'm going to season it with salt and pepper to start with. Right now I'm using some kosher salt. It's pretty big in size. It's almost like chips of salt. And it's just going to kind of lay on the meat real nice. Now, by no means am I a cooking professional, so the camera is shaking a little bit because I'm shaking the salt, and in the other hand I've got my camera. So anyway, salt and pepper. Just going to season it with a little salt and pepper here. Okay, and that salt, it's going to make it absorb that water. It's going to hold the moisture. Alright, so I got the pan covered, and it's okay if the foil touches the meat. That's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to put it in the oven for 210 degrees for about 2 hours. That's going to get the meat really white looking. It's not going to come out with any kind of caramelization on it or anything like that, because it's going to be covered up in foil. The caramelization is going to come with the smoking of the meat, and I'll show you that as soon as it's done. Alright guys, so this is the end product right here. I've actually had it out of the oven for quite a while, and that's what it's supposed to look like. The meat pulls away from the ends, and it's actually pretty tender at this point, but we'll need to cook it some more on the smoker. Alright guys, this is the smoker in question. As you can see, it's got a smoker box on the side, and then this is the main body. This is the normal grill that I usually grill food in. As you can see, the thermometer is reading at about 250 degrees. It's probably pretty good smoking temperature. Over the last half hour of having the ribs in the oven, I've also I started up the grill smoker, and then I've also put in my shark bucket here some wood chunks to smoke with. It's a good thing to use fruit type wood like cherry or apple, and this here is peach wood. I'm using peach wood today, or you can use hickory. Pork is a very soft meat, and you need to use something that's not so harsh like oak, which is what you would use for beef. Okay, so A nice sweet wood like hickory or a fruit wood would be beneficial. But the 250 degree mark on the grill, I've had this grill going for about an hour now, just to kind of science and test how hot it would get with the coals in the side burner here. And as you can see, I got a side burner full of coals. Now the air is going to pass through those vents right there, and it's going to go into the vents up into the smoker. But the thing is that's not where I'm going to put my meat. I'm going to put my meat on this side of the grill rather than this side, because that's where the heat's coming from. And as the heat comes up into the barrel of the smoker, it's going to hit the round part of the smoker, and it's just going to circulate back and forth like this. Okay? And then it's going to go out, it's going to discharge from the stack. Now in this container here, it says ground cinnamon, but it's not really ground cinnamon. It's actually a rub that I use. It's called a Willingham's. This is the Cajun Willingham's flavor. Now, sorry for the cars going by, but we're outside. So anyway, this stuff is actually out of Tennessee. It's very good. It's award-winning seasoning. I'm not a salesperson for the seasoning. This is just something that I use on my meats all the time, even chicken. It's really good. So I'm going to really coat this really good. This is kind of like a rub if you were to start smoking this from the beginning. So I'm going to coat this really good. I'm only going to coat the top. I'm not going to coat the bottom, because actually there's a membrane on the pork on the bottom that's going to hold everything together. It's going to keep the ribs from falling apart. A lot of people will tell you to remove that membrane, but I actually like to keep that membrane on there just so that the ribs don't fall apart, because after smoking these ribs for another 4 hours, they are going to be really tender. Alright, so we're at the grill. I'm going to open up the grill and just go ahead and place those on there. Oh, see how they're falling apart already? Just going to go ahead and place those on there like so. Bone side down, or membrane side down. So at this point, it's a waiting game. At 250 degrees, I'm probably going to smoke them for about 4 to 6 hours. They're going to be really nice and tender. They're going to be juicy. The last couple hours, the last actually half hour, I'm going to go ahead and put the barbecue sauce on it. That's something that you're into. You don't always have to put barbecue sauce on it. Most people like the rub just by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of this peach wood, and I'm going to put it in on top of the coals to let that smoke get into the meat. And it's going to cause the meat to turn a little pink. So a couple of these pieces of wood out of the water that you've had it sitting in for about a half hour. Half hour is the minimum. So I'm just going to place it right on the coals. Just like that will be perfect. And once you close this, those coals will start heating up the wood and start creating the smoke. And the water keeps the wood from really burning the wood. It'll just create the smoke. You may end up having to put more coals in as time goes on, but because as you can see, since I've been doing the little science project to see how hot this grill is going to end up getting, those coals are going to break down, and you may end up having to put more charcoal on there. But as long as the wood is on there smoking instead of burning, you're okay. Alright, so we're here at the hour mark, and we're going to do a kind of a reveal of what's going on here. As you can see, the caramelization is starting to take place on the ribs. Still not quite done yet. I've added some sausages up here just to just so that I can have some sausages. I have some kids up here with me too. That's good. All right, so I'm gonna just close that up. We're still sitting at about 225 degrees. The coals have started to die down, and all of the peach wood is gone. So I'm going to add some more of that, just so that I can have some more smoke flavor in with my meat. And this wood has been soaking for well, since the last time I put it in. So I'm just going to put it right here on top and go ahead and close the lid, and that's just going to go ahead and start smoking the meat even more. Alright guys, we've reached the hour-and-a-half mark on these ribs. It's really hot outside, so I've taken my shirt off just to try to keep cool. And we're going to check on this meat. Okay, so we've started dropping below the 200 mark. So I went ahead and added some more coals into the smoker box, and all the peach tree wood is already burned off as well. So I'm okay with that as of right now, but the meat is looking really good. It's got this kind of like an orangey pinkish kind of color right up and through here, and that's also what you're going to see as you cut into the meat. You're going to see like a pink kind of a color within the first I don't know, about 1/16 of an inch of the meat as you cut it open. The sausages that I added earlier are jalapeno cheddar sausages. They're going to absorb that smoke real nice. They're going to be really tasty when I get them cut up. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and add the barbecue sauce. And what you want to use is like a silicone brush like this. That way it's easier to clean in the dishwasher if that's what you use. But I prefer the silicone brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that on the ribs right now. Just kind of like this. And going to add that to the last half hour or so of smoking. You want to try to baste as much of that visible meat as you can on top. It will eventually drain or melt down over the edge of the bones there as well as the next half hour goes on. Alright, it's been about 20 minutes since I've last put the barbecue sauce on. I'm going to go ahead and put another coat on and continue to cook this at 225 degrees, which is what it's sitting at now. I will tell you though that it's not a very fast process. If you guys have rushed it to this point, you're probably not going to end up with some very good ribs. This is a put on the smoker, go mow your grass kind of a thing, and have a few drinks and then check on it. You don't want to always lift the lid in this to see if things are progressing, because then you're just losing the heat. Alright, so we're ready to take the ribs off the grill, or the smoker, in this case. So we have 2 times basted ribs right here. We're going to pull them off, just like so. Place them on a platter. And the sausages, these things are probably done by now. I'm going to leave them on there while we cut the ribs. So to cut them, you'll need a sharp knife. Tilt them up on the edge, and then cut them down in between the bones. And if it cuts nice and easy, they're done. Man, they look so good. You can see the smoke on the meat, just like I said.
It's hard to see.
And they are super juicy. They pull away from the bone with ease. And that is how you cook juicy barbecued ribs. Thanks for watching.